Hello, this is Andrea Schulman again, and in today's video we're going to talk about how to release attachments and finally let go. Yes, finally, because this attachment to whatever outcome it is that you have is something that's actually been going on for a very, very long time, whether or not you realize it. Now, if you're excited to watch today's video, please give it a thumbs up right now. And let's go ahead and jump on into the video. So yes, if you're carrying any attachments, and we all are in some regards, okay, attachment to outcomes, trying to make things happen. If you're carrying any of that, it is something that's been going on for a very long time, whether or not you realize it. Why we become attached is that we become accustomed to either ignoring our feelings, our reactions, or stuffing them down, or projecting them on other people. You may find yourself really wanting something, having some big desire. Maybe it's for a relationship, or it's for a promotion, maybe it's for money. But when the subject comes up, you have this triggered response. It oftentimes feels like fear, okay, or perhaps like anger, but it's definitely a negative emotion that consistently gets triggered whenever you think about or pursue the thing that it is that you want. When you have that experience, you are attached. You're attached to the outcome. You need it to happen, right? That's why you're having that fear response, because the fear response essentially means I am insecure in some way. I am not complete in some way. There is something wrong with the larger picture. Whereas somebody who is in alignment with their dream through the law of attraction will feel at one with that thing. It's like they already have it, so there's nothing to fear. So if you're having a fear response, a stress response, all that means is you are attached to the outcome, meaning you do not believe that it's yours, and it's triggering some sense of insecurity within you. In order to release attachment and finally let go, you have to drop that insecurity. You have to get to the place where if the subject comes up, you do not have a fear response anymore. This is why it's a little bit tricky, because releasing attachments is not about forcing your negative feelings to go away. And this is where people often get it wrong. It's not about forcing the fear to go away. It's not about forcing the attachment to go away. Rather, it's about neutralizing it. Neutralize is the operative word. This is an insecurity that got started a long, long time ago. Okay, so for instance, maybe you felt abandoned as a child, and there's this deep sense of insecurity around relationships that's been embedded in you, ingrained in your psyche from a very young age. Well, if you're still carrying that insecurity, you're going to find yourself triggered and feeling attached in this kind of way in relationships as life progresses. Let's say that you were brought up with a poverty mentality. You grew up without very much money. Well, there's a sense of insecurity that was bred inside of you, a sense of fear regarding a lack of money. And so whenever the money subject comes up, it triggers that fear. It triggers that attachment to the outcome. So when you're finding yourself attached to an outcome, maybe a particular relationship or a promotion or a lump sum of money or whatever it is, please understand that whatever this thing is that you want, it may seem like, oh, well, this is a new promotion, so this is a new attachment. It is playing on an old attachment to a theme that got started a long, long time ago. Okay, and all that this desire has done is it has triggered within you that fear that you've been carrying. So essentially, we use our present desires to play out our old attachments. to play out our old fears. And so in order to release attachment, we have to neutralize that old fear. And fear is something that we often train ourselves to deal with in ways that are not productive. Okay, and so one of the ways that we often deal with fear, and we start doing this from a very young age, is we may start stuffing it down. So if we feel that insecurity about money or about relationships coming up, we might pretend it's not there. We might try to minimalize it, but we'll suppress it, we'll push it down. We won't really allow it to be there. Another very common way that we deal with these fears that cause these serious attachments is that we often project. So if we suddenly feel attached or scared or worried, instead of owning the feeling as our own, we may put it on somebody else. Well, she's being really competitive. He's being mean-spirited. She's got a problem with money. He doesn't know how to spend appropriately. Okay? And in both of those situations, what we do is we don't own how we feel. Rather, we place a negative judgment on it. Okay? So we're stuffing it down, saying we're not allowed to feel this way. Or we're projecting it on others and shaming them, either in person or in our own mind, for being bad for carrying that insecurity. And this is problematic with the law of attraction, because whatever it is that we say is bad will continue to be bad. Whatever we try to push away will come back. Whatever you resist persists. So by shaming ourselves for feeling fear, for shoving down our attachments, our worried feelings, we actually end up keeping them around for a long period of time. And so these two adaptive measures of pushing down your feelings or projecting them on other people keeps those fears active and keeps you attached to outcomes related to those fears for a very long time, until you learn how to neutralize that fear. All you have to do is allow those feelings to be. Okay, so this is really about taking ownership of the feeling and observing it, owning it, rather than shoving it down or projecting it on other people by either blaming them for having the problem or complaining about them to other people about them having the problem. It's rather to own the feeling. So here's what you do, okay? If the subject of your desire comes up, okay, so you're thinking about the person you want to date, or you're thinking about that promotion, or you're thinking about that business that you want to start, and you feel the stress. The second you feel that come on, just stop what you're doing and observe the feeling. Invite it in. Observe it. Don't push it down and say it isn't there. Don't project it on anybody else. Just observe the feeling. And when you do this, a very interesting thing happens, which is that the feeling will come in and it will dissipate. And in fact, this is a suggestion I often give for a spiritual awakening sign a lot of people get. A lot of people have this symptom when they're going through their spiritual awakening that has to do with ringing in the ears. And if that's ever happened to you, go ahead and shoot it below in the comments. But I know that as my consciousness was expanding, that was happening a lot to me. And this was something that I heard about. I don't remember from where, but it was a really great suggestion. And it was, instead of pushing against the noise and trying to make it go away, just listen to it, lean into it. And I started to notice that when I would do that, I would lean into the noise and the noise would go away. Well, the same thing happens with your feelings, with your fears. Sit there and don't judge them. Don't try to make them go away. Just allow yourself to feel that way, but focus on the feeling. Don't talk about what it's doing. Don't try to compromise with it. Don't negotiate with it. Just feel it. And in leaning into it, it will start to dissipate. For smaller attachments, this can happen very, very quickly. If you have something that's really bashing up against a very big deal thing that, maybe has to do with a serious trauma, you may end up finding, this is just a disclaimer, you may end up finding that instead of just feeling the feeling, you may be called into sobbing for a minute. You may be called into a period of extreme feelings of grief, pangs, sadness that will wash through you. And that may seem kind of scary, but please do understand that it will be a temporary state. If you just surrender to it and let it wash through you, you're just going to let it pass on through and then it will dissipate. And this is an excellent exercise because it allows you to neutralize the feelings. It allows them to just come in, be processed, and wash on out without you negatively judging them. Right? And so that's what actually keeps our fears present, our attachments present, is that we judge them, we push against them, we try to make them go away. If instead you just invite it in and say, okay, we're going to go ahead and do what you want to do right now. Do what you got to do. Let it go. With the law of attraction, you really have to be in resonance with the things that you want. And resonance is about being at peace. It's about knowing that all is one. It's about knowing that you're connected to that thing that you want. It is not a place of fear. It is not a place of separation. It is not a place of feeling abandoned, taken advantage of. It's not a place of that at all. And the best way to get over a fear is just to face it. You know, when you face it, you let it come in, you cry for a second, and you realize it really wasn't that big of a deal. That's a huge, huge sign to your subconscious mind that there's nothing to actually fear. By the way, I did want to remind you that my Manifesting Mastery course is still open for limited enrollment, but it is closing December 13th. This is an awesome step-by-step law of attraction course designed to help you learn how to manifest. It is particularly geared towards people who are either new to the law of attraction or who are having spotty or inconsistent results. And if you'd like more information on that program before it closes, make sure to check out the link below in the description. Thanks so much for watching today's video and have a great day. Bye-bye.